Welcome to Everyman Prepping. Hope you're having a great day. Today we're going to talk about water storage, stockpiling water. The last video we talked about stockpiling food. We had a great response. Thanks for all the new subscribers that came over. But now we're going to concentrate on water. And as we know from the rule of three, we have 3 minutes without air before we die, 3 days without water, 3 weeks without food. So water is very important. We are working on stockpiling our food. So let's go over how do we stockpile our water, and then also a little bit later on the video at the end, stay tuned, we'll talk about some ideas I have, what I've done for purifying the water or filtering it to make sure it's palatable. And before we get more into the water, on the last video I had someone from Northern Europe write in a comment, and they kind of described what they're going through, what their situation is, and asked for more information. It gives us a great insight. So I'm going to read that comment from them. And that way you can get an idea of what another area is like and what situation people are going through. So it's from a subscriber, Silver Pay, and they say, I'm stockpiling seeds, specifically dill, cucumber, tomato, lettuce, and so on. I live way north in Europe in an apartment. For heat and light, I make oil lamps out of cooking oil and shoelaces. Already can't afford almost anything from the grocery store. So if if they're at the point where they're doing oil lamps out of shoelaces, they're struggling, but look, they're still prepping, they're still trying. So, and then I asked for, you have any more things you can share? And they said, sure. So this is what they said next. She says, yeah, it's hell here. A lot of people just buy one by one, by day style, if at all. There might be some English translation issues there. But then it goes on. Simple things like meat, fruit, fish, etc. are impossible to afford for most people I know. Restaurants and pubs are sitting empty. Homeless are everywhere, and soup kitchens are overloaded. Temperature is near 0 degrees Celsius. A box of chicken eggs cost around €5. Now, a euro and the dollar are about on parity, so that's $5. And I don't know how many come in this box, but a box is €5 when it was around €1 around a year ago. So that's a 5x increase. That's huge. Most people's monthly salary is around €1,200. I'm on disability, so my payment is €500. Imagine that. And so, yeah, that's what they say. Yeah, imagine living on that. So, Silver Pay, good luck to you in your stockpiling food and water and getting ready. It looks like they're being creative already, and we'll wish them luck. So now moving on to water here. So we got to, find water, both now and if an SHTF event happens or natural disaster. We have to store it, and both times, and then we have to purify it or filter it so it's drinkable without getting sick. Because waterborne disease is one of the top killers in the modern world now. Imagine, at the end of the world situation, what it'd be like. So where do we find water? Well, right now, if everything's going good for you, you find it out of your tap. It's coming out of the faucet. So that's where you're going to find it now. You can also buy it at the store. You can buy it in bottles. You can get those jugs, like those water cooler jugs, fill them up or buy them. So very easy to buy it now. Takes up a lot of space. You're going to need to have a replenishable supply. You can't store a year's worth of water. It's heavy. It's bulky. Unless you live in the country and have giant tanks, you're not storing water. You're going to have a reasonable amount to go find it. So where can we go find more water in the event that our taps run dry and it doesn't come out of there? So if you have a swimming pool, either yours or your apartment buildings, your complex, swimming pool is a great source. Are you going to have to filter the chemicals out of it? Yes, you are. And you're probably going to want to boil it too. But you can use that water for cleaning, both yourself and your clothes and other items. You can use it for flushing toilets. So swimming pools are a great source. Toilet tanks, that water in the toilet tank is usable. Whether you're going to keep that in there for flushing feces and other stuff down there, you can decide. Or if people have abandoned homes and apartments or whatever around you, if there's abandoned ones, collect water from those. Same with water heaters. Your water heater, if you don't have an Insta-Hot, probably has 50, 40, 100 gallons, whatever, water in there. It's a source for you. And also, like I said, there's abandoned, vacant places. Go for their water heater as well. And then you need that, like I said, that reusable supply. So you go for ponds, rivers, water features, fountains, lakes, creeks, whatever. You need to find a source. Plan it out. because you're going to have to, get a means of transportation to get there, or you're walking there and you got to carry it back. And water is super heavy. It's about 8 pounds per gallon. So train for that now. practice it, do a trial run, but water is heavy and it wears you out. But you need to find that reusable source. If you're in the country and you have a well, you might think you have an endless supply, and you might, but you need the power and the repair parts to keep it running. Do you have a spare pump? Do you have spare wires, spare switches, all that stuff? And do you have at least 2 backup powers? Do you have a solar and a solar generator and a fuel generator, gas? You need that. Also, a manual pump. You got to have that manual pump in your well. You can get them, install them. That way, if there's no power, you're out of gas, the sun's out for days, well, you can manually pump that water out. So you're probably the best off is if you have a country and you have a well. You're probably in the best situation out there. And then there's always rain catchment. I know it's harder in an apartment and townhome, but if you're in a house or you have a place where you can set up a water catchment to get the rain off the roof into a barrel or a tote or a bucket or something, that's where you can get resupply also. That water will have chemicals in it from the roof and insect, bird debris, and all that, so it's going to have to be filtered and sanitized as well. And so let's move on to storage. Where are we storing this water? Well, the things you're storing it now is what you bought. You bought your bottles. You bought your jugs now, your water cooler jugs, and you're storing water in there now. And you put it in your prepper pantry, and it's ready to go. You can go on Amazon, and you can get stackable water storage devices. You get all kinds. If you just go to Amazon, type in water storage, you'll see all kinds of totes and water cans and stackable cans. They got everything there. Also, you want to if you have a tub, get a tub ladder. That way, if the power goes out, you only have a limited time. You're going to need the water. Put it in your tub, fill that thing up. You're going to have a lot of water in there. They come with little pumps. You hand pump it out. Water will easier to get the water out. So get a tub ladder, something like that. If you have space, you have a patio, backyard, that kind of area. Get an IBC tote. They're usually 250, 275 gallons. Make sure it's food grade. Make sure it only had food items in it before if it's used. Nothing like pesticides, chemicals, fuels, any of that. So make sure it's clean and ready to go. But you can store 275 gallons in there. And then if you have a space, you're in the country, you have a huge yard, you can get a 200-gallon tank, 500-gallon tank, 3,000, 5,000-gallon tank, and store a ton of water. So that's where you're going to store your water. And while we're talking about that, how much you need to store, you always hear a lot of channels saying you need 1 gallon per person per day. That's barely survival level. If you want to clean yourself, do some laundry, wash some food, prep some food, you need to shoot for 3 to 5 gallons per person per day. So take the number of people in your family, your group, your clan, or whatever you're prepping for, do 3 to 5 gallons a day, and then figure out I want a month's worth. And then, because I know where my resupply is coming, I have 2 weeks worth. So figure out what that is, how much you can have, get at least that much on hand, as much as you can on hand now, ready to go, and then you can resupply later. So this leads to you've found it, you've stored it. Now you gotta, you're out of the store water, you're out of the stuff that came out of the tap. Now you gotta purify it, filter it so it's potable, so you don't get some waterborne disease from this water you just collected. So there's 2 different ways here. You can just purify it and sanitize it and that'll leave any chemicals in there. It'll make it, kill the viruses and the bacteria and waterborne disease, but it'll have chemicals in there. So you can also do filtering to help filter out some of the chemicals. Not all filters will take out all chemicals. You got to read up on the filter, read the box. But what the first thing you do, so let's going to talk about the first category, and that's just sanitizing it. You can boil it. You boil water for 10 minutes. It's going to kill everything in there, and it's going to be drinkable. Like I said, it'll still have chemicals in there, but everything else will be good to go. So boiling. Next, you got water tablets. The little tablets you put in there, shake it up, dissolve it. Once again, won't take, like I said, won't take any of the chemicals out. You got iodine. You can put that in there, drops of iodine, shake it up. You could also put bleach. So there's, a couple types of bleach. You can get the regular household, 6% bleach. Don't get the scented, the gel, the weird one, just straight bleach, 6%. Or you can get the stuff called multi-chlor, which people use in their wells to sanitize water systems, but it's 12.5%, and so it's twice as strong basically. So you don't need as much of it on hand, and that way you can sanitize more water with less supplies, and it's something good to look out for. Call like well companies and stuff like that, and you'll find someone that services wells. They'll be able to get you some of that stuff. Also, now bleach and multi-chlor, they last maybe 6 months. And then it degrades in its potency. and so it won't work as well. Something you can use to make your own bleach basically and last forever is calcium hypochlorite, or it's basically pool shock. You want to use like 75, 78% calcium hypochlorite, as pure as you can. That's the only thing in there. Don't get a pool shock with any weird stuff in it. That's the only chemical you want in there. So you can make sure you're not getting any other chemicals when you do this. And I'll go down in a minute and I'm going to show you what recipe you can use that to make basically a shock solution so you can purify a lot of water. Calcium hypochlorite is a chemical. It lasts forever. It doesn't go bad. One thing you gotta be aware of, it will corrode the heck out of metal. It'll eat metal, rust it, destroy it. So you have to store it, and it off gases. So you do not store it inside the house, the garage, or anything. You need to store it outside in like a plastic bucket with no metal handle, plastic container, a tote. Put it in plastic. Don't put it anywhere near metal because it will corrode it. So just be advised of that. Read up about it on the internet there. So we got that taken care of. Now we want to try to remove some chemicals. Maybe we want to do both. We want to filter it and then sanitize it. But if you're filtering it, you can use things like a life straw. That's the basic thing. You just suck the water out of the ground. You can use a Sawyer Mini. That's probably the next level up from there. If you want to move up, there you can get one of these hand pump ones like the Catadine pump. You put the little device with a tube. You put it throw it in the water source, and you pump it out. And you can pump it into jugs, into a platypus bladder, whatever you want. It'll be filtered, from all debris and viruses, bacteria, and things like that. It'll still have a lot of the chemicals. You got to read about it, and see which ones it does and doesn't take out. But those are good too. A lot more expensive though, a lot more. In fact, they're probably just as much as expensive as one of my next favorites. Is a gravity-fed filter, like a Berkey. You don't have to use a Berkey. There's a lot of other brands out there to research, but I'm experienced with the Berkey, with the black filters. They work great. Many different sizes. You put the water on the top overnight. Gravity feeds through the filters, comes out below. Pure, great water to drink. It's one of the best methods that I would suggest you do, is see if you can invest in it. Now, if you can't afford that, you can make your own gravity-fed water filter system. You just need two food-grade buckets with lids. In the top one, you just drill holes, and then you need to buy filters, of course. So you buy a couple Berkey Blacks, maybe you buy 4 or 5, however many you want, and you have backups and extras. You drill holes in one bucket, you install the filters, and then you put it on top. Then the second bucket with the lid on it, you put it on top, you mark the location where the filter is going to drip water through. Drill holes in that top, put it on top, and then you fill it up with water, it drips through. You have your own gravity-fed system, and it works. And I know it works because I've built one. So it's very easy to do. Anyone do it. The Everyman can do it. So if you can't afford a nice, stainless steel Berkey or one of the other ones, make your own. Very easy to do. And that's how you're going to filter the most amount of water, the most rapid method, I believe. So, all right, now that we've purified it and cleaned it and all that, I want to go through a little bit. I have a little card here that I use for myself that I've laminated about disinfecting it. Different things you can use. So I talked about the 12.5% multi-chlor bleach. If you have the 6% bleach, you use half this amount. So for a gallon of water, use 4 drops. So get yourself an eyedropper. Make sure you have an eyedropper. So for 12% bleach, 4 drops. Obviously, you have 6% bleach. You want to use 8 drops. And then that's just your straight bleach. If you now do a gallon of water. If you have one of those totes, the 275-gallon tote, it's a third a cup. So 1/3 cup of 12.5% will do 275 gallons, or 2/3 a cup if you have regular bleach, and that'll sanitize it. Now this calcium hypochlorite, you want to make a shock solution, and you're going to use this shock solution to then sanitize the rest of your water. So you take a heaping teaspoon of your 78% calcium hypochlorite, and you mix it with 2 gallons of water. So teaspoon, 2 gallons of water. Mix it up. And then that's your shock solution. So if you only have 1 gallon thing, use a heaping half teaspoon. You have to be exactly accurate in this. No, more is probably better. You have more of a chlorine taste. You can, air out the water after you chlorinate it to get rid of the chlorine. You can pour it back and forth in between 2 buckets, and it'll help do it. So you've mixed it and you got your 2 gallons. Now you use it in a ratio of 1 to 100. And it doesn't matter. 1 cup of shock to 100 cups of water. And so 1 gallon of solution is 100 gallons of water. If you have a tote, a 275-gallon tote, you need 2.75 gallons of the shock solution. and I'll give you some more ratios here. A 3/4 cup of solution will get you 5 gallons of water. And what else do I have on here? If you want to do just a gallon of water with the solution, if you want to do just a gallon of water, 2.5 tablespoons. I mean, sorry, 2.5 tablespoons of calcium hypochlorite shock solution will do a gallon of water. So if you want more of this, just email me. My email's in the description. You can get there and I can email you all this stuff I have there. I also put links in the description with all these items. If you'd like to pick some of them up that I have myself and I've used, you can do that as well. And if you comment below on what you do for purification, what you do for storing water, let people know. We had great comments in the last video. Hopefully you get a great comments on this one as well. And until next time, keep your ear to the ground and head on a swivel.